So we have been seeing these 5 attachments because of which you are not able to think of Lord, take His name continuously, because of which you are not able to live in God consciousness, because of which you are not able to unfold your divine potentialities. So one has to develop some detachment towards all this. Wealth, desires, knowledge, and family, children, wife, etc., husband. We need a detached attitude towards all this. So Shankara does not want you to abandon all these. You should not abandon them. But you must develop a certain distance so that you have some quality time to deal with your own inner life. You have to have an inner life. Not all the time in the crowd, talking in the mobile phone all the time, or chewing gums, and must have some time for yourself every day. That's what Shankara is emphasizing, so that you can take the name of the Lord, revisit the spiritual place which is within you, and chant His name with total attention. And then Shankaracharya asked, Kade Kanda, so he said, he is bemoaning that people will be with you as long as you have the capacity to earn wealth. Once their capacity goes, your respect goes, nobody bothers about you. So as long as you earn wealth, people will be like flies coming towards filth. Similarly, people will come. Otherwise, nobody will come. So he says, one should not depend upon wealth and the reputation that the wealth brings. So as long as life dances in your nostril, life also is a position. Prana is a position. Prana is not you. You are something deeper than the prana. So as long as prana is there, your very close people will be with you. Your wife and children will be. Children also will not be there. Children also will say, I have work. I have to go. I cannot sit with him all the time. So they also will go. The only person who will be with you is your wife. Even she will abandon you when the breath leaves you. So therefore he says, let us not depend upon all this. Let us depend upon the name of the Lord. Bhajagovindam. Bhajagovindam. Govindam Bhaja. But people don't get this idea because Balastavad Krida Saktaha. Your children, they play. Spend their time in play. Tarunastavad Taruni Raktaha. Young man goes after erotic pleasures. Vriddhastavad Chindamagnaha. Old man constantly thinks about the past, the missed opportunities, the wrong things he has done, the people whom he has cheated. All this he thinks in the old age. Parame Brahmani Kobina Lagna. Nobody has time to think of the Lord. So you always think, I will go to think of the Lord tomorrow, chant mantras tomorrow. So you always postpone. And when you become old, you cannot do it also. So this is the situation. Frivolously wasting away our time. And then, Kanda Putraha. Wife and children. We seek our security from them. My wife and children. Wife thinks my husband and children will protect me. Husband thinks my wife and children will be with me. But what we find is, they cannot give you security. Security you must feel inside. It's an inner feeling. And that can come only when you surrender to the Lord. Take His name. Remember Him. The Lord alone can give you the deep sense of security and satisfaction. Nobody else can give you. Others can give you a cup of tea in the morning, bring you the newspaper, press your feet, say that I am with you. But that doesn't give you any security. Security can come only when you're deeply rooted in God consciousness. That's why Shankara asked this question, who can give you real security? But in spite of all that, we are still depending upon these insecure people for our own security, he says. These are themselves are insecure. So one has to think, deepen your awareness and see that Jagadas Pidarau one day, they are the cosmic fathers. Think about them. And you have come from them. You have your root in them, in that spiritual center. Knowing that, tattvam chindayatatiha brada. Constantly keep thinking about that. So we must spend some time for these kind of thoughts. So how do we go about it? Next, let's read it once more. Sassangatve nissangatvam nissangatve nirmohatvam nirmohatve nischalatatvam nischalatatve jivan muktihi. So these are the steps that you can follow. First is satsanga. Satsanga means association with the good people. And who is a good man? There are many definitions of a good man. A good man is one who thinks about your well-being. A person who thinks about your well-being, he can be called a good man. A person who thinks about his own well-being at your cost, he is a bad man. Because he is trying to exploit you to make you an instrument of his purpose. The person who does not think about his own well-being, but who thinks for you, like your parents. Your parents think of your well-being, generally they think of, at least when you are baby, parents think of your well-being. So they can be called a good person vis-a-vis you. So anybody who thinks about your well-being, your spiritual well-being, not just a material well-being, but spiritual well-being can be called a good man. That's one definition of a good man, who is selfless with reference to you. Another definition of a good man who has got abiding faith in God. Sandha. Sandha means one who believes in God. One who believes in the ultimate victory of truth. Satyameva jayade nanrudam satyena pantha vidada devayana. Truth alone triumphs. And who has abiding faith in that can be called a good man. Nowadays you find the people of truth. You cannot live as a true, honest person in this world. Therefore be dishonest also. He cannot be called a good man. So good man is either who thinks about your well-being, the well-being of the whole world, or who is relentlessly pursuing truth, a truthful person, an honest person, one who has got belief in God, one who has got belief in the ultimate triumph of goodness. He must be able to tell you that, son, ultimately good alone will triumph. Ultimately truth alone will triumph. Presently you don't see it. Presently you see untruth triumphing or violence everywhere. But you should not take that violent path, dishonest path. Somebody can consistently tell you that he is a good person. Somebody can consistently inspire you to walk the path of righteousness. Or one who has got abiding faith in God. These are called good people. Sattva, Sandha. Haven't you heard Sandha? Sandha Longaval, Sandha Bindranwale also was called Sandha. He was a terrorist. He cannot be called a Sandha. A Sandha is a person who believes in non-violence, who does not believe in exploiting the other, who always thinks and works for truth. He alone can be called a Sandha. So that such people, Sandha, good people, go and sit at their feet. Again, another definition of good man is one who does not make any demand on you. He can be called a good man. Because the moment you go to somebody, they make demands. Give me this donation, give me that, give me this. And such people cannot be called good. Because they themselves have got needs. They themselves are inwardly poor. Such people cannot be called a good person. Good person is one who is self-sufficient, is full in himself. So a person who never makes any demand on you, he can be called a good man. So such people, go to him. Or one who has got learned the scriptures, he also can be a good person, who can teach you the Gita, the Upanishad, meditation, etc. Who can talk to you about God consistently. So Shastra Vida also can be called a good man. Or another definition of good man is one who is happy all the time. That's a simple definition. One who is happy by himself all the time can be called a good man. And who has got the time and the leisure to teach you can be called a good man. So go to the good people. In the Kathopanishad it is said, Uttishtata, Jagrata, Prapya, Varan, Nibodada, Churasya Dhara, Nishida, Duratya, Durgam, Padastat, Kavayo, Vadanti. Wake up. Shake up. Go to your teacher. Sit at his feet. Learn. Because his life is like walking on a racer's edge, he says. Life is as precarious as walking on a racer's edge. You have to be very, very alert to make sense out of this nonsensical world. To make some sense out of it, you need good guidance and advice. So, Tishtada, Chakrada, Prapya, Vara, Nibodada, Shurasya Dhara, Nishida, Duratya, Durgam, Padastat, Kavayo, Vadanti. Or Padishya Logan, Karmajidan, Brahmanaha, Nirvedamaya, Nasyagradakrudena, Sadvijnanartham, Gurumeva Bigache, Samitpanihi, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. You go to the teacher, Samitpanihi, with a folded hand. You go to the Guru, fall at his feet. So these instructions are there in our scriptures.